Hey everybody, it's Zach from Myshire Farm, and we are back again with another video to help you on your journey with Coturnix quail and becoming more self-sufficient. In this video, we are actually going to be discussing frequently asked questions. We're going to be talking about very popular questions that we get quite a bit through texts, phone calls, emails, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, so on and so forth. The team here at Myshire Farm and the team on YouTube, which is Verna Young, Beth Reed, and Ed from Ed Got Bait. They are my moderators on YouTube as well, and we have been working pretty hard on trying to compile a lot of questions together because if they have the questions, most likely you have the question as well, and we would love to help you on your journey with Coturnix quail and becoming more self-sufficient. So, in this video, I really need your help. I need you to comment below what your questions are, and we will get them answered for you to help you on your journey. So we're going to be doing a playlist every week on frequently asked, most popular questions, and we would love to use your questions to help others be more self-sufficient and answer your questions along the way. So, in the comments below, please comment what questions that you might have, and we will get them on the list for you. Thank you very much. We're going to do a test run today. We're going to fix some issues, and then starting next week, we'll have a much better program going on. So here's a couple of questions that we have so far. And I am getting older, unfortunately, and my eyes are betraying me, so bear with me on my glasses. So number one is, do outside quail need heat in the fall or the winter? It's a very good question. No, they do not. They do need to be out of the elements. So rain, snow, heavy wind, sleet, who knows what's going to fall from the sky this year. As long as they can get out of the elements in some sort of shelter and it is predator proof, they do completely fine in the fall and the winter. They're very cold hardy, so that is not an issue. You don't have to worry about that at all. Question number two is, how long can unwashed eggs stay on the counter? Another very good question, and I get this one quite a bit as well. And that really depends on what you think. Now, here at Myshire Farm, we sell quite a bit of corporate orders for hatching or eating eggs to corporate accounts. We do a use by date, which is 2 weeks from the date that they are laid. We have not went past that date, so we have not extended that to see how they do. Because it's not worth it to me. 2 weeks is quite a long time for quail eggs. You go through them pretty quickly. So 2 weeks for consumption, eating eggs is what we recommend here at Myshire Farm. Now again, you could test that theory and go longer. We just have never wanted to get someone sick. So 2 weeks, we've tried, we've tested, and we do for all of our corporate accounts, and they do just fine for years. So that's what we recommend, is 2 weeks from the date that they are laid. Very good question. Number three, how many birds in a cage? Well, we recommend 5 hens and 1 male, and that will give you a very high fertility rate, as well as keeping all of your hens looking very, very good for the longevity of their productive lives. As far as space goes, we recommend 3 quail per square foot for the jumbos, because they are a little bit larger, and we recommend 3.5 quail per square foot for the standards. Now, I know that that sounds weird because I'm saying a half, but we do big colony cages here. So pretty much every 2 square feet equals an extra quail. So in our big colony cages, that gives us like an extra 10 quail per cage, which adds up after a while, considering they lay 300 eggs a year, right? So that's why we say the 3.5. Now, that is our opinion. A lot of people have different opinions. There's many ways to raise quail, which is completely fine. But let me tell you the reason behind that as well. So with 3 to 3.5 quail per square foot, they feel safe, they are friendly with each other, and they're very productive. We have noticed that when you go down to much more space per quail, they tend to get very aggressive and very territorial, not necessarily aggressive, very territorial. They start enjoying their space, and then they start to kind of conquer other people's spaces, is what we have noticed. So that's why we don't recommend more square feet. And then if you overcrowd them, obviously it looks bad, it feels bad. There's no reason to overcrowd them at all. I don't want to be overcrowded. So the sweet spot for us is 3 to 3.5 quail per square foot. And that seems to work very well for us. They're very productive, high fertility rate, high hatch rate, high longevity, high production, and all that jazz. So that's why we recommend that. You might hear differently from other people, which is completely fine, but that's why. So hopefully that helps. And that's a very good question. How long should you leave chicks in the incubator before removing them? Before removing if there are still unhatched eggs? I butchered that question. I'm so very sorry. I'm going to re-ask it quickly. How long should you leave chicks in the incubator before removing if there are still unhatched eggs? I said that much more clearly. Well, we recommend every 24 hours. I know a lot of people are very concerned about shrink wrapping the eggs. That's really not a thing unless you're leaving it off for an extended amount of time. So we recommend every 24 hours. You can do every 48, and that's okay. Some people recommend 72, and that's just a little too scary for me. I don't want to see them without food and water for that long. So we like 24 hours. Get them in the brooder. Let them move around a lot more. Have them, choose what heat that they want, and let them eat and drink all that they want. So we like 24 hours. Now, here's a little tip for you. With that being said, when we move them, we have everything prepped. So whether you have a cabinet incubator or a styrofoam incubator or a plastic incubator or whatever the case may be, there's easy ways to do it. So you can get a little box, a little basket, whatever the case may be. If you have a brooder on wheels, you can just wheel it over there, whatever you want to do. And then when you take it off, take the lid off or open the door, you're literally going to take them all and just put them into the basket or the box, the brooder themselves, and deal with that in a minute. And then as soon as you get them all out, close it up. It really doesn't take very long to move them all just into a small confined space. And then you can finish up your setting because they can handle without heat for 15, 20, 25 minutes and they'll be just fine. But leaving that incubator open, the lid off or the door open or whatever the case may be, there is a possibility for shrink wrap if it is a long extended period of time. So if it's a 20, 25 minutes that it's off, yes, it could shrink wrap. But if you have a prep in place, if you have a plan in place, then that's really not the case. We do it all the time. We've been doing it for years and years and years, and we don't shrink wrap any of our eggs. But we've, again, we put them in a box and then we move that box to the brooder and then we take them out and sort them that way. So hopefully that helps as well. And that is a very good question. I lost my spot. Okay, on lockdown, what should humidity be? Very good question. I do have a hatching process playlist on our YouTube channel, Myshire Farm. You can go to the playlist tab, and on there is a playlist called the hatching process, and we go through every step. Temps, humidity, when to move them, when to candle, how to candle, all that jazz. So that might help you as well. But at lockdown, the humidity, if you're not dry hatching, the humidity should be between 65 and 75% is what works best for us. Again, with humidity, that also determines on your geographical location. So for example, I've got a lot of customers in Utah, Colorado, very humid, very high humidity there. So they dry hatch, which is a completely different process. But we are in Ohio, so that's what our experience is. So if you're in a climate like Ohio or Indiana or Michigan or Pennsylvania, New York, whatever the Kentucky, I mean, I could go on and on. I think you know the states. Then we do 65 to 75% at lockdown. And the reason why you want to increase the humidity at lockdown is because you want to soften the egg. So the temperature helps the embryo grow. And then when it's lockdown time for them to come out of the egg, you have to make sure that you soften that egg where that they can easily break through and not use a lot of energy. So if you have very weak chicks, most likely, most of the time, they've hatched very late. They're hatching on day 18, 19, 20. Well, that's because they've been in the egg for too long and it took so much energy to break out of that egg. So that's typically a humidity issue. Again, there could be many different things. We're actually going to do a video on troubleshooting Coturnix quail and what to look for and signs and symptoms. So check that out. We'll be posting that soon. And if this is helping at all, hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. We're going to do 2 more questions, then we'll finish up for this week. This one is actually a very, very good one. What's a good time of year to replace breeders? That is a fantastic question, and I can say that it really depends on what works best for you. Now, we are a quail farm. We ship and sell quail, quail eggs, quail, right? Usually, November and December are our slower months. January, beginning of January is slow. Once mid-January hits, we are almost sold out. I mean, we are backed up. So it'll take a week to 2 to get your eggs. January, February, March, and April. Since that is our busiest time of the year, we like to change our females, because we switch our males out twice a year. We like to switch our males and females out. Males for the second time, females for the first time. We like to switch those out in October, November, December, sometimes starting in September, October, November, and December. Usually, sometimes we wait through September and start in October. It just depends on what we're doing at the time. But typically, the end of the year works best for us so that they are fresh, young, new generation, and completely ready to lay all throughout the busy season for us when that happens. So that's when we like to do it. But again, it can be whenever you want to do it and whatever works best for your schedule. If you're just raising for yourself, I really think that you should just switch your males out about every 9 months to a year. Switch your hens out every 1.5 to 2 years. We go very extreme here. We have much higher standards just because we're shipping eggs and live quail to all of you, and we want to make sure that you're getting the best possible quality that we can give you. So we switch our males out twice a year, and we switch our hens out once a year. But that is not necessary for just raising for meat and eggs for yourself. Absolutely not. Last question that we're going to do, and I thought that this was a very, very good one. We had quite a bit on here, but I don't want to do a 70-minute video, and you guys, you guys go, I don't care about this. So we're going to do one more. Hang in there with me. And again, if this is helping at all, or you like this format, or you like the idea of it, and we just need to improve it a little bit more, hit the like button and support the channel. I would appreciate it, and we'll be doing more videos like this. But last question is, what age do you move quail from the paper towels to the wire? That is a fantastic question. So we use the blue automotive paper towels. The white regular paper towels are just a little too slippery, and you'll get splay leg a lot. They're just not sturdy enough for them. There's not enough grip. So we like to use the blue automotive paper towels. Now, there's other things that you can use. I completely get it. If you want to let people know in the comments what you use, that'd be fantastic. But we use the blue paper towels. For years and years and years and years, we did not have wire bottoms on our brooders. We had a wood bottom, and we put, shavings down, and then, that just got kind of a long time to clean. So when we moved to the new barn, we decided to do a wire bottom, which is 1/2 by 1/2. And we put blue paper towels down for the first week. Now, I really like the blue paper towels. After the first week, we pull it up and they do just fine on the 1/2 by 1/2 wire. We've been doing it for about 2 years now with no issues, not one at all. So we really like that. Now, if you don't have wire bottoms, you'll obviously want to keep using them. So here's the extra tip, because I have this quite a bit as well. The first week, they do fine on paper towels for the full week. After that, it's about 5 days that you need to switch it out. Now, we take our chicks out of the brooder at 3 weeks old and move them into the main barn. So if you're going to keep them in there for 3 or 4 weeks before you put them outside, you might have to change the blue paper towels out about 2 to 3 every days once they're that 3 or 4 week old, because obviously they're a lot bigger. And the other thing that you want to think about in that aspect is we recommend 6 chicks per square foot, and then when we move them at 3 weeks old, we change that to 3 quail per square foot to give them a lot more space because they are a lot bigger, right? So with that being said, if you're going to keep them in there for longer, you want to make sure that you're at least giving them that extra space, whether from the beginning or you move them to a separate brooder later on. But you don't want them to be six quail per square foot when they're 3 or 4 weeks old. You want to switch that at that age because that's when they are fully feathered and they're getting quite big. So I hope that that helped. Let me know in the comments what your questions are, what you think of this video or this idea, and we'd love to do more for you, but we need your questions. So thank you very much for watching. Hit the like button, support the channel, and subscribe because we got a lot of great videos coming your way. Thanks everybody. Have a great night.